What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, so Cast Mac Chat Day, and obviously there's a lot more to talk about because it's only 16 days away from the regular season. Let me share this real quick. Technology. I did it wrong. What's up, Hudson? Trying to share the link. What's up, Charles? Trying to share the link. There we go. All right. So, Grant Holmes was good today. I think he is solidified one of those rotation spots for now until Spencer Strider comes back. But Ian Anderson and Bryce Elder are still Sean Murphy is out 6 weeks with that cracked rib. It's basically the latest. Drake Baldwin has still looked amazing. I honestly don't know how we can keep him down. He hasn't swung and missed this entire spring. And I don't think he has anything to prove in the minors. Obviously, I know that Chadwick Trump has no options, so he'll likely be one of those spots. But Drake Baldwin has just been amazing especially with the opposite field approach that he has. I just don't see a world where he's not a big factor. I mean, even when Sean Murphy comes back, just because I don't know if he'll light the world on fire, but the overall package is insane. So yeah, I think obviously it stinks for Sean, but I think this is the one position where we could withstand some sort of injury because you trust Chadwick Trump and what he's done, and Matt Diaz. I think I've seen him on radio stuff, but that's a definite name from the past. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up and I'll get back to you on that one. Grant had I'm sure Murphy will still be around getting treatment and stuff. So I don't think when Sean Murphy comes back, I wonder if they'll send him down because they don't want him to just sit. I don't know that for a fact, but like I said, I think the catching position is in the best of shape for us to withstand an injury of sorts. Let's see what else. Grant Holmes had a goodish outing today. Had a sloppy third inning, but all told, 5 innings, 1 hit, 0 runs, three walks, 5 strikeouts, and 2 hit batters. That was in the sloppy third where he gave up the 2 hit batters and a walk. but he was able to get out of it. So that's nice. And like I said, Grant Holmes is definitely going to make it because he's knife when Spencer Strider comes back out of the bullpen. I think our bullpen is like I've called it, a box of chocolates, but Jake Diekman has pitched really well. Perdomo's been solid. Pilar's been solid, even though they've had a little bit more traffic than maybe you would like. They've still been very effective. And I think Perdomo was hitting 93, 94 today. And I think he might have even touched 95. So the velocity is coming back more for spring training. But you got Dylan Lee and Aaron Bummer. Dylan Lee and Aaron Bummer is your definite 1-2 in your lefties. And then Jake Diekman has pitched so well. We've got a lot of veteran guys that are non-roster invitees that are probably going to make it. And while that's amazing for them, it's also kind of scary because you don't know exactly what you're getting when the lights turn on. But you can't discount it either. De Los Santos has been awesome. So there's still a lot of options, and we haven't made a lot of roster moves of late. So there's a lot of battles and things going on. Bryce Elder, I have no idea. He and Ian Anderson look like the same person to me when I'm watching them pitch. It's just a lot of really hard work. And yes, you want to see guys be able to get out of jams, but they've had to do that all spring with walks, with the 2-out walks and the longer innings. There's not quick, easy, breezy innings for either Bryce Elder or Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson even has 9 walks this spring, which is not good, especially Marlins. Nothing against them, but there just needs to be quicker outs. And it's kind of same with Bryce Elder. He's been pulled and reinserted in 3 of his outings this spring. So I think his ceiling was in 2020. What was it? 2023 first half All-Star, I think. So I think that's honestly a ceiling because there's just not. He doesn't have the stuff to get away with things, and he's not pitcher perfect. It just goes wrong. We all are ready for opening day, that's for sure. Ronald May 2nd-ish around there, and Strider late April, early May as well. As far as I know, everything's gone well with Strider. They haven't updated it recently, but that was the latest timetable we got for that. But Ronald's still on track as far as I know as well. Definitely ready for opening day. But yeah, I mean, obviously you like a lot of the really good pitching, but Bryce Elder, I can't. Kind of reminds me of Julio Teheran at the end, where it was just kind of pulling teeth, for sure. And I don't know, Bryce Elder and Ian Anderson should just feel the same. I would feel better if there was more of a veteran presence in our. Hey, Julie, it's been a while. Hope you're good. I think everybody's itching to go, but we had dodged the bullet with Jurickson Profar's injury. Thank God, just a jammed wrist, and he's going to be ready to go. But as far as the rotation goes, I would love to have a veteran presence, but as long as Grant Holmes does his thing, I think we can survive it. And then your bullpen is better when Grant Holmes goes in. Even though, again, the bullpen is kind of like a box of chocolates where you don't know exactly what you're going to get, even though it's a lot of veteran guys. And Hector Neris has apparently been doing really well and great stuff on the backfields. And the guys have been impressed there. But you also got Buck Farmer. You've got De Los Santos that I talked about. You've got Diekman. I think Diekman's a pretty shoe-in right now, unless he completely blows up. Dylan Covey was, Holmes did good today. Just that scratchy third inning. But you like to see him be able to pitch in and out of jams because you know that's going to happen in the regular season. So it's nice to see the difference between Grant Holmes and Bryce Elder and Ian Anderson is there just hasn't been a lot of quickness from Ian Anderson or Bryce Elder. They have to work way too hard. If you have a one-off inning where you have to work way too hard, then that's one thing. But if you have to work so hard in every single one of your innings, that's a little different. And that's where I kind of balk a little bit with those two. But the Braves know better than I do. So, but that's just the observation I have every single time they pitch. I know there's some other veteran guys that I'm missing in terms of the bullpen. What worries me is that the bullpen is such a box of chocolates. I mean, you've got Pierce Johnson, you've got Raisel Iglesias, Aaron Bummer. But I will say Aaron Bummer, his stats are much better than the results. And Brian Snitker, I think, because he had more of a track record with AJ Minter, I think he just automatically went to AJ Minter a lot. And I don't think the first impression for Braves fans wasn't the greatest for Aaron Bummer, so everybody just kind of wrote him off. But he did have the best barrel rate in baseball. I know that's a bigger term, but it's a stat where the balls in play over 95 miles an hour. So he had the least amount of those. I don't think he had one until late in the year somewhere. So I think Aaron Bummer just kind of got a lack of a better term, a bummer of a reputation early, and a pun intended that it kind of just trickled so far. I think he's going to be much bigger piece. But you got Dylan Lee coming off a career year. You got Dylan Lee, Pierce Johnson, and Raisel Iglesias. Those three guys you really trust. The rest of it feels like a flip of the coin until you see it when the lights come on. Even though guys like Jake Diekman, De Los Santos, Buck Farmer, they've been through it all. They know it. Hector Neris. But until the lights come on, you don't know. And then you got the Perdomo coming off Tom John surgery, Pilar, who's a Rule 5 draft pick, that if he doesn't make Murphy, that was a big blow. That if he doesn't make the roster, Pilar, then we have to offer him back to the Marlins. And I think we've seen enough from Pilar to be able to comfortably keep him on the roster. He hasn't been in big league situations. Daysbel Hernandez have had a couple of rough outings this spring. Again, you don't put too much stock in it, but he's like one of the very few high velocity guys that we have. So again, I think it's just up in the air with the bullpen, but it's also very intriguing, and it could end up being one of the underrated pieces. And yeah, for Murphy, it super sucks. You know, I'm a Murphy. I love Sean Murphy. I love most all the players that we have. I'm gonna root for him, but Sean Murphy especially because I think he just gets a bad rap. And I understand that he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn last year, but that was after dealing with an oblique for 2 months and things of that nature. So battling uphill and then battling uphill with this getting his ribs cracked. It's just unfortunate because no matter what happens offensively, he's one of the best game callers, situation callers, and especially with the unknowns in our pitching staff and bullpen, you really, really would like to have that security blanket of Sean Murphy back there for sure. But like I said earlier, Drake Baldwin is the top prospect for a reason. Like I said, he hasn't swung and missed in spring, so this injury is unfortunate and a bummer, but it's one where we can withstand whatever. We can withstand it because I think Drake Baldwin and Chadwick Tromp can hold down the fort, and whatever we decide to do afterwards, perfect. And I agree, Charles, on the Profar thing. When I was watching it and I saw the replay, it looked like he broke his wrist. It was just really awkward, but the baseball gods gave us a reprieve after last season. So, and you asked, I think Julie asked the concern on the starting pitching. Obviously, the 4 and 5 spots, because it's just everything. I just don't know that we have enough depth. Because I mean, Chris Sale is older. Ronaldo Lopez is coming off nagging kind of injuries, and Spencer Schwellenbach is Spencer is amazing, but you also have to factor in a little bit of the sophomore slump possibility, even though you definitely don't want to put it out there, but that's just the reality of it. But that's okay. I mean, things happen. We'll figure it out. AJ Smith-Shawvers looks solid enough. That gives you good depth. But I just don't know that we have enough reliable depth, that we've seen enough, that we can trust it, that you at least stay in the ball game, I guess is my bigger concern there. But I'll shift to the I don't think we've seen enough from to keep him. He was the other Rule 5 draft pick, the Swiss Army knife shortstop. He's only 23, but I just don't know that we've seen enough for him to stay on the roster. So we more than likely, in my opinion, will offer him back to Cleveland just because of Eli White and the versatility that he's shown. And he's hitting over 350 this spring and probably should have had a homer today if it weren't for the wind. And he's shown to be adequate at all the positions, especially shortstop, which is nice to see considering he hasn't played there since high school, but he's shown his held his own out there big time. And some other good developments hitting wise that I'm really happy about. I know people are kind of tired of Orlando, but I think we have one more year of him, and he's only struck out once this spring. So that is good. And I think he just looks more composed at the plate, not trying to do as much. And Jared Kelenic has also struck out less this spring, which is a welcome development. So is the extra base hit power he has displayed this spring. Some of the hardest hit balls the Braves have had. So that's nice. Also, Brian De La Cruz has been really solid this spring. 333 for him. Nick Allen hasn't played in a week, so I don't know that bodes well for him because Eli White has no options. So I think Eli White is playing himself on our team or on somebody else's team, bar none. But I think not seeing Nick Allen for a week, even though he's very adequate in the field, he struggled offensively throughout his career, and I think Arcia's glove is better. So I think we're just gonna have to deal with the Orlando Arcia thing, which I don't mind Orlando. I don't, because you're gonna get more. If Orlando hits like 245 and 17 homers and 56 RBIs or something around that ballpark, I think everybody will be totally fine with that. Yeah, I talked about Profar a long time ago, but yeah, I'm very relieved about Profar as well. Like I said, I was watching and I thought he broke it, but I'm glad he didn't. I think our plans got foiled because we were gonna pay Jeff Hoffman, the old Philly reliever, to be a starter at $9 million, and it was a 5-year deal, 5 for 45. And then that fell through because of medicals, and then I think that Tanner Scott kind of left us in the lurch. I think we were on the 1 yard line with that, and I don't know what the contract was. So I don't think the lack of spending, the lack of spending was a choice. His first choice, definitely not. And I think if we had Jeff Hoffman, I would not be talking as skeptically about the starting rotation as I am. But yeah, I think AA definitely tried. But there's always a lot of factors. Sorry about that. There's always a lot of factors that go into it. The medicals. I know, Charles. I saw your comment about Profar. I'm really glad we didn't lose him either. I thought I answered that a couple of times. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's still 16, 17 days. And Alex is always turning over every rock and doing the best he can to keep improving our team. But the good thing is the box of chocolates bullpen options, they're making the decisions tough. And that means really good things because they're pitching well. Because if they weren't pitching well, these decisions would be easier. And I don't think you necessarily want easy decisions. You would love for somebody to take a stranglehold more on the fifth spot in the rotation, or I would. But it is what it is as of now. Thank you. I try to get creative hats all the time, but so yeah, that's there's a lot of quality decisions, and I think Eli White pushing that as well is a good thing. And then, of course, Ozzy's struggling a bit, but you know, you don't overreact to the bad in spring training with guys that you trust. So I'm not gonna. No, they're not gonna. They might move Wadger to the bullpen, but I think it would be too early. Um, to because they've revamped his delivery and things of that nature. So I would not expect that right now, but maybe down the road, yes. But I would not expect that right now, given the rotation depth isn't necessarily huge. So that is that would be a lot easier. But I will tell you, recapping spring training games versus regular games are there's no comparison. I cannot wait until regular season gets rolling. But if everybody hit 450 and that would be fantastic. It would. My God. If that was actually a thing, whew, I don't know what we would do with ourselves. But the reality is that that's definitely not the reality. And Hudson, that water in New York is not good. Yep. Chris Sale striking or retiring the first 24 batters face. Yeah. I think we just the schedule makers just do that on purpose now. The water in New York, Hudson, is not good. Yeah. But I think the schedule makers just do that on purpose now. I have no idea why, but I'm happy getting a West Coast trip out of the way early. Early feels good. Yeah, Chris Sale retiring the first 24 batters faced in spring. Fantastic. And no, Max brought his 2024 Braves injury luck to New York. Yeah, that's also a possibility as well. I wouldn't doubt that. Plus the having the All-Star game here and I'll piggyback on Julie saying that we wish we would have done more in off season, of course, but I think every season is different, and based on last year with all the injuries and all the crap that we went through, I it is what it is. There's so many different ways to slice it, and like I said, a lot of extenuating circumstances with the Hoffman physical and Tanner Scott getting scooped up by the evil empire that is the Dodgers. You can't do anything about that. So I think he literally tried, but it just didn't work, and we just kind of have to see how things go. I really like the possibility of Profar, Ronald Acuna Jr., Profar. I think Ozzy would be better like in the middle of the lineup, especially not against lefties. Of course, you're going to have him higher, but in the middle of the lineup, so it may take a lot of pressure off of him. Kind of what we did in the World Series when Ozzy hit seventh. Yeah, me too. But I mean, he's got a pretty early timetable, which is kind of cool. And with Profar being able and so effective at the leadoff spot, I think we'll be totally fine there. But yeah, I miss Ronnie so much too. But don't tell Twitter that, because they all want us to recoup our minor leagues and Trey and Ronald. I saw that so much the other day, and I was just like, will you be quiet? Oh, just making sure that there was no news. Except they did add a Spanish broadcaster for the Braves games this year, so that's a cool twist. And there's been a lot more access to spring training games, so that's been a nice add for sure. So I haven't really had to guess based on the stats and stuff, and kind of make it up on the fly. Not that I mind doing that at all. Yeah. Well, Facebook's worse, but Twitter and Blue Sky and all that stuff, you'll find. Obviously, not surprised by it, but it happens a lot. It's funny to me. You can have your opinions about players and things of that nature, and there's players I like more than others, but it feels like some people want our entire team to fail and are like, oh my God, Sean Murphy's the worst catcher I've ever seen in baseball and XYZ. And I'm like, that is definitely not the case. I know everybody misses Willie C and he's thriving in Milwaukee and all that stuff, but everybody acting like Sean Murphy is the worst catcher they've ever seen is definitely missing the boat there. It's just the amount of times I have to defend our own players. It's annoying, but I know it's part of it. And we all have our opinions about certain players, and no, I don't get it either. It's just the goal is to win as many games as possible and cheer for your team. And I get there's factors for things on our team. I definitely get that, but I don't know. It's yeah. Thank you, Charles. I love what I do, and this has been the most active live in a while, so I appreciate that for sure. Yeah. There's so many teams out there that would love our lineup, love our pitching, and it's kind of to way. And this year we're doing it in a different way, but I don't necessarily mind it considering how many injuries and crap and stupid stuff that happened last year. It's almost just sit back, watch what happens, and go with that. Yeah, no kidding. And given all the pitching injuries and around the league, you got Garrett Cole out for the year, you got Quintana out for 3 months, I think, with a lat. You got George Kirby dealing with a shoulder injury. Yeah, and you're gonna get the flashback with Ronald when he comes back. Can you imagine though, like Ronald, Profar, Olson, Riley, Olson, Riley, Harris, Ozzie, Baldwin Arcia. That's like that. I mean, no, I don't think any of them. I really don't think no one. Sorry, guys. Allergies got me on that one. But no, I don't think many could. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be weird to see AJ Minter in a Mets uniform, but he got $11 million coming off a hip injury, so he should have taken it and ran with it. And yeah, for sure. And I mean, I don't like it, but I mean, AJ Minter was a roller coaster ride. I mean, when he was really good, he was really good, but when he got in his bad stretches, I think the start of the season is going to be really important. Just because you're going out west, you're seeing the Dodgers and Padres, and with all the questions, just to see how the pitching holds up and how the bullpen box of chocolates. That's gonna be my bullpen nickname for the year. So guys, just get used to that. Yeah, victory baby. I need to get a victory baby shirt or something. No, Jesse didn't retire. He is with the Rangers, and I think currently has a 16.88 ERA. So everybody's clamoring for him to come back. I honestly don't want it, but unless he's an actual coach. But if he comes back, good. But I hope we don't need him. Honestly. Yeah, it's kind of similar for me with him and Charlie. I know Charlie would have been fine to come back, but I feel like because we knew what we were gonna get from him, but I feel like that road kind of ended. I really do. No, not on 15 million. No. Um, I think, and Charlie might struggle with the home run ball. Charlie might struggle with the home run ball in Baltimore, and they're dealing with injuries too. With I believe Grayson Rodriguez is going to start the season on the IL, so Charlie is going to be a more vital piece to the Orioles than I think they were anticipating. But I don't necessarily like what the Orioles have done. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't think they capitalized on their window, so to speak. They overplayed the trade deadline, and then they underplayed free agency with their young core and the farm system that they have. I don't like it. And Charlie will be fine for them, but I think he had a lot more blowups than last year, so he was either really good or the 6 innings or the blow up. So yeah, Chipper's still around. He's still listed as a coach. I just don't know if it'll be as much, but yeah, he's still around, still listed as a coach and all that stuff. So I'm not quite sure, but oh yeah, I forgot another Mets injury was Francisco Alvarez injured his wrist, out 6 to 8 for that. So that's another New York injury. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's not really good. But the Yankees did get $27 million of salary relief from the Garrett Cole injury, so they can maybe pivot a trade or something. I'm not sure, but like the yeah, no, I'm not, but Chipper is one of the best, and him being active on social media has been really cool. Just burying people with their dumb takes and stuff. That's been fun. Um, yeah, I do too. Um, Even though, like, if we get rid of that player or something, I have a I have like a kind of a sigh of relief that it wasn't us, but I still feel bad for them. But it's kind of probably a little bit mean, but it's the competitive side of me where I'm like, okay, at least we dodged that bullet, and plus we already dodged one with Jerks and Profar, so just counting the injury blessing gods or whatever you want to call it. But definitely don't I never want to see stars go down, but it's just the nature of it. Yeah, I did. I said it's cool that you're close in age. He's one of my favorites, and it's cool that Chipper's more active on social and burying people in their dumb takes. Check and see if any news. I'm surprised we haven't cut. We were really fast with the cuts, and now we've really slowed down. So I guess it's all good that we got it started. Um, yeah, but I think there's a lot of good battles in spring training. Oh, it'll probably be Max Fried. I honestly, Freddie, I get it, but I'm good. We got Matt Olson out of the deal. I'll always love Freddie, but it'll probably be Max Fried, honestly. I mean, but that's the nature of it. But yes, I think that we're gonna miss him the most, and I'm definitely gonna miss him the most. But you know he'll have a blister or something nagging because he always has. Uh, um, but yeah, Freddie, I'm good. I'm glad he's having as much success as he is in Los Angeles. But yeah, I did. I read it multiple times. Um, he is coaching this year, I think, um, and I'm not close in age with Chipper, but it's been fun seeing him on Twitter and all of his interactions and all of that stuff. Thank you.
It's really hot.
Yeah. So I think I'm really excited about the differences of this team. Yeah, we got pork au jus. We got pork au jus, mashed potatoes, and green beans. One of my favorites. So very, very tasty there. But glad to have you back, Julie. I know you've been one of the more active persons on the stuff, so I'm yeah, I did comment on that. I'm glad. It's cool to be close in age with some of your favorite athletes. But yeah, Julie, we definitely miss you on these live streams. Just keeping the conversation flowing. It's a lot easier than talking to myself. But I know the timing and life has kind of gotten in the way. But I'm gonna try to continue and do live watches or live series watches. I did a poll a while ago that said you should do series watches, so 3 straight or 4 straight, probably just 3. And I'll put that stuff on my channel so you guys know when. But yeah, I think it's this is a year that it's gonna be super fun, super exciting, but also just don't. I'm gonna try not to have expectations because there's a lot of excitement and a lot of unknowns that we're not used to. But I think it's really exciting, and for sure. So I think that's a very I don't think it'll be interesting. Maybe interesting. You're welcome. Maybe interesting in that if Drake Baldwin comes up, holds his own, and all that stuff, but you want Murphy for his all-around game. I don't know that you want Drake Baldwin to sit a lot, whereas Chadwick Trump is used to the spot start. Excuse me. The spot start here or there. So I think that may be the that may be the worry. And it's not a worry, it's a good problem to have. And like I said, that's the one situation where I think you don't want any more injuries and you never want one, but that's a situation where you can withstand it. Because Drake Baldwin has nothing else to prove in AAA that he can. I mean, he called Chris Sale's last 2 starts in spring training, and Chris Sale gave him the stamp of approval for sure, and that's important because Chris Sale doesn't call his own pitches; it's all on the catcher. And obviously, I think Sean Murphy and Chadwick Trump are still going to be around to help him, and Eddie Perez and all that stuff. Yeah, and I don't know. You could also see, I don't know, probably not, given how aggressive the Braves are with prospects. You could also see Kurt Casale, Kurt Casale and Chadwick Trump. I would prefer Drake Baldwin and Chadwick Trump, but you never know. And we were rumored to ask about Yasmani Grandal, but he wants a chance to completely start. And we he declined our offer, so he might retire too. But that throws an interesting wrinkle because that was before Sean Murphy's injury. But now I think we're okay with Baldwin and Trump, or at least I hope that's the Grandal. Yeah, probably. I am still surprised that David Robinson doesn't have a job. I wouldn't mind him in the back end of our bullpen, but again, the box of chocolates. And guys, you're going to get annoyed with me saying that, but I can't think of a better nickname for the bullpen, so that's what it's going to be this year. Nacho he took an awkward swing and had some discomfort in the wrist, and they really haven't said anything. He went out one of the games against Washington, so I think it's injury related, I believe, but they haven't like specifically announced anything. For that, which I totally forgot about him, but yeah, that's what happened there. For sure. So hopefully nothing bad there. It was just an awkward swing, but I don't know. There's a lot of bones in that wrist and different things like that. But I will be honest, I wasn't exactly like, yep. See ya, Hudson. I wasn't exactly like jumping for joy with all the minor league and non-roster invitee contracts, but they pleasantly surprised me and created a lot of competition and a lot of good competition. And obviously, that's why. And that's why Alex Anthopoulos and company know what they're doing, because they put up a really competitive spring. And I really appreciate that, given, like I keep saying, all the unknowns and whatnot. Nacho took an awkward swing a week or two ago against Washington and was removed. So it's a wrist injury for Nacho. So we'll see on that. But they haven't updated anything, so I don't know if that's good news or bad news, honestly, but so we'll see there. But I think Eli White continually getting starts at different positions shows you that he's definitely going to make the team. Drake Baldwin, I think, unless the Braves get some Drake Baldwin is probably the only untouchable I can see, and probably Kim Minetti, because we just got him, and there's so much upside. But the rest of them, I don't see. He'll pull the trigger on anything, but I really think Drake Baldwin is the only untouchable, quote unquote, because I think he's so ready right now, and I honestly want to see the Braves profit from the development. Yeah, I trust AJ Smith-Shawver more than I do Hurston Waldrep. I'll say that, but I don't think that AJ is necessarily untouchable. And who we play tomorrow, because I think he's out of options next year, maybe. So that could. I think he needs to carve out a role this year for AJ Smith-Shawver and show a little bit of staying power. Who do we play tomorrow? We play Baltimore. on the road. Ian Anderson starting. But yeah, Ian Anderson, but I trust AJ Smith-Shawver more than I do Hurston Waldrop. If that answers your question. Yeah, so. But again, it's a different spring, but I'm really happy about everything and just and trusting the process. I wouldn't have minded like a Jose Quintana or did I get I have the cable package, thankfully, of the FanDuel I think it'll be a close race between Riley and Olsen to lead us in homers this season. So I'll be able to watch all the games. Obviously, for like Apple, I'll just follow it on my phone, stuff like that. And then if like I'm traveling or whatever, I'll do what I can. But yeah, I'll be locked in on all of them. And thank God my parents have the cable package. So and like I said, I'm gonna try to do more consistent live series watches to help the watch hours and help the engagements and stuff like that. I've just got to figure out schedules and with all the sports going on at one time and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how any of the TV stuff works. I just know I have it and I can find it, and that's the best thing. Because if I didn't, I would have to find it somewhere. But yeah. So, and I'm really liking the coaches' approaches this year. Like the new coaches, they're not trying to do too much. They're not trying to put a lot of information in the head. Just doing what they have to do and trying to keep it as simple as possible because hitting is not simple. So hopefully this year we'll get more of a balanced attack in terms of a lot of homers, but a lot of more different ways to score because we kind of gotten homer happy. And that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. And that's a lot of how baseball is going right now. But just to know you have different tools in the toolbox, so to speak, it is nice. So I am really excited, and we'll probably next Tuesday have a lot more cuts and the roster will be more finalized. Well, that is good. I think we're all settled with the TV stuff. I think we're all gonna be able to watch us and all that stuff. Oops. There we go. My bad. But this is the first stream that I've gotten a full hour in a while. So thank you everyone. And I got up to like seven people watching, so that's nice too. Gonna try to beat my record of 13 this year. And hopefully I'll do that with a lot more live streams and live watches. But again, I'm superstitious, so if we start bad on the live watches, I might pause for a bit. But as always, go Braves, champions forever. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, helps out a lot. Thanks, guys. And you know, I got all the news covered, all the cuts, all that stuff, and I'll see you next Tuesday with bells on. And if anything changes, I will let you know on my channel. See you guys.